Are you guys ready for the most dangerous question? And this question is so dangerous, it might affect your faith. So if you need to turn the video off now, then turn it off. I'm just warning you. It's a dangerous question. I've seen what this question's done to people and to their faith. So I'm just warning you now. Okay. And real quick before I get into that question, it's kind of a deep one. I want to let all my people know that I am making more art videos. They're coming. Just be patient, and I'll be putting them up. I'm working on a huge video series right now for painting with Photoshop. So anyway, the question, let's get on with it. So when I was a believer, this entity asked me this question. And not the evil guy in the Bible, at least in the New Testament. He's never evil in the Old Testament. Anyway, he asked me this question. And here's the question. At first it seems simple. How do you know that what you worship is God? Now the question's not powerful yet. It doesn't get powerful until it's explained. Now let's suppose that there's this entity called the Googleplex. He's called the Googleplex, or the Googleplex deceiver, because he is Googleplexes old. Now if you don't know what the number Googleplex is, now the number Google is big enough. Googleplex is so long that the number, if written out, would wrap around and around and around and around and around and around, and around, and you never finish wrapping around the Earth. It's just that big of a number. I might be exaggerating just a bit, but it's really big. It can wrap around and around and around the Earth. That's just how big it is morphologically when written out. Now, a billion, when written out morphologically, is pretty small. That's not a very big number. Oops, it's not a billion. There. It's not a very big number, as far as how long it is. But that's a long damn time, a billion years. You can't even fathom what it would be like to be a billion years old. Now imagine a Googleplex. Imagine this number is so long, it wraps around and around and around and around the Earth. Now, if this short morphological number, that's the shape of the number, if this number is only this long, and yet it's so long of time that short image there, that short symbol, represents a time that's unfathomable by us. We can't imagine what it would be like to be a billion years, to live that long, or what this human species would be like a billion years from now, if we survive that long as a species. So imagine a number that's so long, it goes around and around and around and around, around the Earth. Googleplex. So he's Googleplexes old. Now naturally, if an entity is Googleplexes old, he can easily deceive you. No problem. He can outsmart you. He can make you believe whatever he wants. He's that powerful, that smart, that old, that ancient. And not only that, but his presence. Here's little you, little pea brain, you and me, right? We got our big shoes on. So here's little pea brain, you and me. We're like praying, and this Googleplex, all around. He's just so powerful and big and awesome. Putting his power on us. What does that feel like to us? To us little pea brains. He feels like infinite. He feels like he goes every which way. He's all around. He's everywhere. That's what a Googleplex would feel like. That's how powerful he would be. That's what it would feel like to us. So what would we call that? We'd say, "Oh, that's God, man. That's what I'm experiencing." So we experiencing the Googleplex. If this Googleplex existed, we would call it God. Now it would not only feel infinitely big, it would feel infinitely old to us. We can't even fathom what Googleplex would feel like. To us, it'd feel infinitely old. So it'd feel eternal. It'd feel infinite. Wait a minute. These are all the things that we think God is. And we would say, oh, it created the universe. It's that powerful and so forth. So we would attribute, if a Googleplex existed, if this entity was real, an entity that, let's say, a natural entity that has learned how to jump from universe to universe, boop, it just like jumps and it lives forever, and this universe collapses on itself or rips apart, and so it keeps jumping from universe to universe, and that's how it's lived so long. And now it's in our universe just kind of pretending to be God, and we don't know any better, and it makes little heavens and hells and whatever we need in our universe and keeps us separate after we die. That way we're all ignorant of the fact that it's not really God. And why does it do that? Because it doesn't want us to figure out that it's just a natural being like us, a Googleplex. And if we learn how to start hopping universes, right, then we'll be like it. So it wants to keep us dumb. It wants to keep us believing we're living forever in our happy little heavens within the little regions of the universe. And that when the universe smashes on itself, and becomes nothing, and we all cease to exist because if the universe collapses, we can't exist in that, no matter what form we are. That form can't survive it, and so we would never become like it. So it's just securing its position. If that entity existed, it would easily deceive every human being on Earth, no problem, and we'd all believe it was God. I ask the question again. How can you be certain that what you're worshiping is God? How do you know you're not worshiping the Googleplex? How do you know you're not worshiping some powerful, deceiving entity? Well, because, man, I experience it, and it's like love. Well, that's what this being would feel like. He's good. He's not bad. He's a good entity. He's just not eternal. He's just not infinite. He just feels like those things to us. How can you be positive? How can you be sure? Well, and also, how can you be sure that what you're experiencing isn't just an emotion, isn't just a powerful human experience, a common powerful human experience? What I mean by that is, suppose I was raised to believe that anger was demon possession. That when you experience this emotion that we understand as a human experience that occurs in our brain, right? Chemical transference in our brain, chemical reaction, brain state. That's what anger is. But I was taught growing up, let's say, that anger is demon possession. So don't let demons possess you. And that's why you act so weird when you're angry. And that's why you're like, oh, I'm so sorry. I don't know how I did that or why I did that. I was angry. No, you were demon possessed, man. That's why you did something you didn't want to do. That's why you acted weird. That's why you acted so different, because you were actually possessed of demons. That's why people become different when they're angry. They become different people altogether. And then they don't know why they did what they did. Oh, they blame it on anger. Okay, so that's what I was raised to believe. Let's say. How? And one day someone comes to me. How do you know that demons exist? Well, because I experienced them. Really? When? Well, I get angry. I mean, haven't you ever been angry? Then you experience demons. Dude, come on, that's just an emotion. How can you be sure that emotion that you're experiencing, that experiencing you're having, that experience of this powerful experience? Because anger is a powerful experience, and it alters your mind, it alters the way you think, it changes your personality. It's a pretty damn powerful experience. And so I'm like, dude, it's demons. He's like, well, how can you know that powerful experience is demons? How do you know you're experiencing demons? You see, so I have no evidence. It's just the way I was raised. And since I was raised to believe that powerful experience that I call anger is caused by spirits, by these demons, by evil, then I'm believing that, and I'm thinking I'm experiencing demons. Well, now one day someone challenges me and goes, well, how do you know that what you're not experiencing is just chemical reactions in the brain? Then he shows me scientific evidence. And he shows me that my brain states change. Well, that's because the demons are changing my brain states. I can always defend my position, but what I can't do is, that is when I defend my position, I'm just coming up with excuses. Well, sure, science shows that my brain states are changing, but that's because the reason why my brain, states are changing is because the demons are messing with my brain, and they're changing my brain states. And that's supposed to be a brain. It looks like something else. Okay, anyway. So, yeah. And so he challenges me, and I can't demonstrate it. I can't show for sure that my interpretation, this is important, that my interpretation of anger is actually caused by demons. It's very possible I'm wrong, that my interpretation's wrong, and that what I'm experiencing is just simple, natural, human changes in my brain state, or brain states. So again, I ask the question, you're experiencing this powerful experience and you call that God. How can you be sure that your interpretation of that powerful experience is God? Well, he answers my prayers and so forth. Well, the Googleplex can do that. Just about any powerful spirit entity can do that, or even natural alien from another planet using technology, can answer your prayers and implant thoughts in your mind and all this sort of thing. So how can you be certain? How can you be positive? How can you be sure that your interpretation of these experiences is God? How do you know that you're not worshiping the Googleplex? How can you be positive? Try to prove it, that your interpretation of what you're experiencing, that what you're believing is actually God, that you're not being deceived by some powerful entity. How do you know? How can you demonstrate that? That's what I want to know. Please leave your comments.